is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
Absolutely gorgeous in South Florida right now. And in Miami, the weather is so nice. The roof is wide open. Diamondbacks and Marlins finish off a 3-game series. The Fish are hot. They've won 9 of 10, and they go for a 3-game sweep tonight. Hi, everybody. Welcome inside. Nice to have the roof open. Preston Wilson is with me. Let's talk about sweeping a team. You don't get many opportunities in Major League Baseball to do this. Marlins have a nice one tonight.
Well, sweeping a team is hard to do. The talent in the major leagues is very balanced. So when you get that 3rd game in a row, it means a lot. So the Marlins got an opportunity to take advantage of this, and Adam Conley is going to be the key tonight.
The key for the Marlins in winning 9 of 10, there's a lot of them. I mean, take your pick. Here are the ranks. Go to the far right column, National League ranks. Now, the ERA for starters and bullpen would be a lot lower. In the one loss, remember, the Marlins gave up 14 runs, but obviously a very balanced attack.
What I really like is the batting average that's just a tick under 300, the 364 on-base percentage, and the slugging percentage that's almost at 500. That means you're getting contributions from up and down the lineup. Every day it's a different guy, and that's when you have team victories.
Nice. In the midst of this run, where the Marlins have won 9 of 10, they almost had a little history. Miami has 5 no-hitters in their history. They almost had their 6th. Adam Conley left at 116 pitches in the 8th inning in Milwaukee. What did you learn from him watching this Milwaukee game?
He looked absolutely fearless in that Milwaukee game. He was attacking hitters early, going after them, throwing a lot of fastballs, and they just couldn't pick it up. Adam Conley has that Chris Sale kind of delivery where he slings it kind of 3/4. The ball gets on top of the hitters in a hurry, and they really have a hard time picking the ball up off him.
Miami has a great opportunity, a chance to sweep the Diamondbacks here. Selfie time. Yeah, we'll talk about last night. Oh, man. Marlins and Diamondbacks are coming up. Diamondbacks and Fish. Let's head out to center field. Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine.
Thank you, Rich Walton. Good evening again, everybody. Marlins will go for the sweep, try to sweep the Snakes right out of South Florida here in the game tonight. Great defense last night, and as great as some of the Marlin defensive plays were with the Stanton throw and Dietrich over at first, the catching of Romuto, Brandon Drury had the play of the game.
He had the play of the game, and probably one of the most dangerous plays you're going to make as an outfielder. You got that low wall, just about mid-thigh height there. He comes over it, just misses, face planting into that screen mesh. Look at the fan. Are you kidding me? Let's get the selfie with Brandon Drury. I don't think he knew about it, but look at that. That's quick thinking right there.
He knew about it today because Blake Mathese became a pretty big story, especially in Phoenix, where he did not interfere with Drury, and today he was invited out to catch some BP and got a chance to meet Brandon Drury, watching him close up. He also appeared on the Arizona Diamondbacks pregame show with the great Jody Jackson as well on Fox Sports in Phoenix. And look at that, Drury took a selfie.
A post selfie.
That's pretty good.
I was watching Kevin Millar's show, and he actually had video of it too. He actually took a video as he was getting up from that catch. I'm like, that is quick thinking. That's today's generation,
amazing.
though.
It is.
Let's
today.
get the selfie.
And you know, the past generation would have gone for the baseball.
Yes,
now you go for
I want
photo.
the baseball. Now I go for the selfie.
But it turned out to be a fun moment here in the ball game for the Marlins.
He got his 15 minutes of fame.
He got his fame, absolutely. And the Marlins won the game, and they'll take that 4-3. We'll see if there's any selfies in store tonight in Game 3 of this series. Next.
In a video nutshell, that was last night as the Fish beat the Diamondbacks, winning the first two games of a three-gamer. Adam Conley The 25-year-old is on the mound, and he takes aim at Arizona. The Diamondbacks lineup is brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine. Preston Wilson.
Gene Segura leading off. Brandon and Drury, the good-looking rookies, hitting second. Paul Goldschmidt third. Wellington Castillo with the power surges hitting fourth. David Peralta fifth. Yasmani Tomas sixth. Chris Owen seventh. Nick Ahmed is eighth. And Robbie Ray is doing the pitching.
And here comes Conley on his way out to the mound. And of course, the last time he was throwing, he had a no-hitter, 2 outs into the 8th inning, and at 116 pitches, he was lifted from the game. Conley tonight looks for win number 2 and tries to keep the good times rolling for Miami. The Fish have won 9 of 10, a chance to get 3 over the 500 mark. Miami's defense tonight's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Christian Yelich, Marcelo Ozuna, Giancarlo Stanton in the outfield. Martin Prado, Chris Johnson on the corners. Adeiny Echeverria and Derek Dietrich up the middle. JT Realmuto is behind the plate. Justin Bour maybe a day or two away with that broken finger. Gene Segura, though, with the sore hip, is in the lineup for the Diamondbacks. All right, the roof is open. The weather around South Florida, partly cloudy, but 81 and not real high humidity. This is just an absolutely gorgeous night. And Preston, I think importantly, the wind is coming from the west, so it's not shooting from the ocean through the rolling windows or over the roof and into the ballpark. So it's a very calm and still environment for the ball game.
It's going to be interesting to see how the ball carries tonight, that we don't have that ocean breeze coming from the east. It's going to be nice to see how this ballpark plays, but it's really great to see the ballpark open. Like you said, very low humidity, great weather, and I'll tell you, this is a great night for some baseball.
Pair of lefties on the mound, Adam Conley, Robbie Ray. This is Conley and Gene Segura. And a fastball zips outside. It's 1-0. Segura getting the start at second base. Former shortstop with the Milwaukee Brewers. And you see the numbers for Segura. A very good start for him. Fastball up and in. Segura starts the night 6th in the National League in hitting. And 2nd overall in total hits. Lifts that one to right. Stanton wanders back. And Giancarlo, shy of the track, makes the catch. That brings up Brandon Drury, with Paul Goldschmidt also due up. Drury, a youngster that we've talked about in the last couple of nights. Diamondbacks very high on him, and they should be. And he takes in. Drury's had a good start swinging the bat. Just 23 out of Grants Pass, Oregon. Former Brave farmhand. Cracks that one to left. Yelich in and there, and he makes the catch. Preston Wilson, one of the nice things about Adam Conley, not only the fact that he throws strikes, he's tough to pick up, he works quickly.
I like the fact that he's just getting the ball and throwing it. He's not overthinking it. He's trusting his catcher. What he puts down, he's throwing. The game is moving along quickly already.
Here's Goldschmidt now, and he swings and misses at a fastball. Paul Goldschmidt, couple hits in the series and a walk. Was 0 for 4 last night, but he has yet to really heat up. All that being said, with Goldschmidt, he has hit 6 homers, and the Diamondbacks have hit a lot of homers as a team. 40 home runs. That's tied for the major league lead. There's the breaking ball from Conley.
Oh, that's a good looking pitch from Conley. I tell you, guys do not seem to pick the ball up off of this guy. He's got that slinky delivery, that long, lanky arm, and the ball jumps out of his hand. It's a lot of fun to see this guy work with the confidence that he's working with right now.
1-2 coming. And Goldschmidt gets a piece and fouls it off.
Goldschmidt is one of those guys that's an MVP caliber guy. Came in second in MVP a couple years ago. But you just hope that when you see him come into a series hitting 230 that he doesn't get hot while he's here.
Conley elevates a fastball and Goldschmidt fights it off. Adam out of Olympia, Washington, lived in a variety of spots in the state of Washington and ended up in the southeast corner in Pullman, the home of Washington State, and he was a closer his first 2 years in the program. Wanted to start, convinced the coaching staff to give it a shot, and he was terrific. Marlins took him in the second round and signed him at the end of that summer. And he's gone 2-2 to Paul Goldschmidt. Changeup and a good one, and he strikes out Goldschmidt.
That's filthy.
Adam Conley, a 14-pitch first inning. 1, 2, 3. Go the Snakes. Is a presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Roof wide open, gorgeous evening in Miami. And here comes Miami's lineup, brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Leadoff, JT Realmuto, Martin Prado second, Christian Yelich third, Giancarlo Stanton fourth, Marcell Ozuna fifth, Chris Johnson, Derek Dietrich, Adeiny Echeverria, and Adam Conley are the bottom of the order.
And the Marlins are facing a lefty as well. Robbie Ray, 6'2", 195. He's 24. And this fastball misses out. And yep, JT Realmuto's back in that leadoff spot. A look at Ray. His last time out, a real bumpy ride against the Rockies in Arizona. 5 runs in 4 innings, 4 home runs. And the odd thing, in his previous 4 starts, he had not given up a home run. And he got knocked around for 4 of them in a loss, a 9-0 loss. There's the line from that game. He's out of Brentwood, Tennessee. And Realmuto takes away. JT Realmuto said when he was promoted to the leadoff spot, I'm not changing a thing. Not going to get up there trying to walk. Not going to get up there thinking I'm a leadoff guy. If I see the ball and can hit it, I will do that. And so far he's done it. 9 straight Realmuto has hit in. 19 hits in that 9-game hit streak. And he's pumped his average up to 329. And right now he's 8th in the National League in hitting. Chops it to 3rd. Drury throws across the diamond in time. Realmuto is out, number 1. Speaking of Brandon Drury, he was in right field last night, but Southwest Airlines diagrams he's at third base tonight with Goldschmidt across the diamond, Segura Ahmed up the middle, Outfield of Yasmani Tomas, Chris Owings, David Peralta. Wellington Castillo, the veteran, is behind home plate. There's Drury back at third base. And here's Martin Prado. Prado 1 for 9 in this series. His hit streak came to an end last night. And amazingly for Prado, of all the games he started this year, he had a hit until last night. The only start in which he didn't have a hit. So the 8-gamer is gone. And that's a 2-hopper out to the shortstop. Ahmed has sparkled defensively in the series. And with 2 outs, we scout Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray, hard-throwing left-hander. Not too often your Little League team ends up being the same name as your Major League team. He's a Little League Diamondback. Anibal Sanchez went on a DL. That's how he got his first Major League start. So he's thanking Anibal Sanchez, and he throws a lot of heat, mostly low 90s. They have to make sure to keep him in the zone. That's been the bugaboo. He'll lose control every now and then, run up a high pitch count, but this is a good young left-handed arm.
95 miles an hour, the fastball to Christian Yelich. Yelich, couple hits in the series, including home run number 2 on the season. And Ray snaps off a slider for a strike. It's 0-2. The Nationals drafted him in 2010, traded him to the Tigers in the Doug Fister trade in 14. That's where he ran into Anibal Sanchez as a teammate. And then in a 3-way, he was traded to the Diamondbacks. The big piece for the Diamondbacks was Didi Gregorius going to the Yankees. That's a gorgeous pitch. Fastball right at the knees with 96 on it. Scoreless ball game in Miami.
Béisbol está disponible en español a través del SAP y es presentado a ustedes por Kendall Toyota y West Kendall Toyota.
The Fleet's in. It's Fleet Week. And a good representation from the Navy here. Budweiser balcony is a good spot to hang out. And here goes Adam Conley against Wellington Castillo with David Peralta and Yasmani Tomas. In the second. And a strike to Castillo. Conley a 1-2-3 first. He struck out Goldschmidt to end it and had a couple of fly ball outs to start it. Castillo is enjoying an offensive renaissance after starting the year last year with the Cubs, spending a brief stay in Seattle. He blew up as a Diamondback. 17 homers 13 doubles in just 80 games. And Conley strikes him out. So two strikeouts and an out here in the second. Group networking. Preston and I try it all the time. You should too. Host your group's next networking event prior to a Marlins home game. Choose from a variety of meeting places and catering options here at Marlins Park. Strike to David Peralta. Peralta getting the start in right, and in the 5 spot, Yasmani Tomas due up next. It's lefties here tonight, and both these teams have had success against lefties.
If you like lefties with live arms, this is a game for you to watch. Both of these guys have good live fastballs. Robbie Ray hit 96 last inning. Conley has been around 94. And he is just getting the ball and throwing it, pumping strikes. If this game goes on like this is going to be a fun one to watch, people.
The Diamondbacks have hit 16 homers against lefties. It's tied for the most in the National League, and that clips at 0-2. It clips David Peralta. And I'm sure some of you at home noting that Conley has 4 outs here and has not given up a hit, has completed his no-hitter that he started in Milwaukee and was unable to finish.
Wow, that just got the tip of that little elbow guard of Peralta. That was a slider that just did not come out of his hand well. Let it go early, stayed inside. I want to see if the tempo continues to be as good as it was with a man on base as it was with him through the first few batters when nobody was on.
Conley's pretty simple. I mean, that's, I think, one of the beauties of his delivery, and teams are forever tinkering with tall lefties delivery. You know, Randy Johnson probably the poster child for that, the Hall of Famer who went into the Hall of Fame as a Diamondback. And Conley grew up watching Randy Johnson pitch. And there's been comparisons to that delivery to Chris Sale's delivery. That changeup with that whipping arm action is a really good pitch.
If he can maintain that arm motion, that looks just like his fastball. Hitters can't pick that up. The arm speed is the same as the fastball. The grip is just different, and that slows the ball down. And that's a really nice delivery, nice pitch by Adam Conley.
And a fastball strikes out Tomas. That's another example. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball with his delivery and arm action. Hitters will tell you it looks 95, 96.
It's unbelievable how much hitters have trouble picking up the ball out of his hand. That ball is by a fastball hitter in Yasmani Tomas. That ball is absolutely in the mitt before he gets that swing off. I'm really enjoying Adam Conley tonight.
Throw to first. I hope you had a chance to watch his effort in Milwaukee, and if you stuck around long enough to hear his post-game interview, one of the most introspective, intelligent, thoughtful interviews I've heard in some time from any sport, let alone from a young lefty who was just taken out of a game in the 8th inning with a no-hitter going. Conley, in that interview, and he talked about all facets of the situation. He understood what was at stake. He knew what his manager was up against. He knew that when he walked a couple hitters in the 7th and the 8th inning, that there was no way he was going to see the 9th. Yet the athlete in him was saying, stay out there, get that no-hitter. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball pulled foul.
Adam Conley is a true representation of, you can't judge a guy by how he looks. He looks like one of those guys that's so laid back, can even come off as somewhat aloof. But when you listen to him, there is so much intensity, so much attention to detail that can get lost if you just look at him and go, you know, he looks like this laid back guy. But no, this is a guy who is really in it, and he's in it 100%.
That last shot was a great shot of Don Mattingly giving signs, JT Realmuto looking into the dugout. That is not for the pitch. That is what does the manager of the Marlins want to do about the base run? Does he want Conley to throw over? Does he want him to step off? Does he want him to hold the ball? Real Muto is the guy that's calling the game. That one's fouled back into the seats.
Yeah, and that ball was off of Owings' knuckles. That was not a very good swing. That ball was all on top of him, and he barely got a piece of it. Conley's been impressive so far.
Fastball struck him out. Adam Conley is dealing again tonight. 4 strikeouts on the night, 3 of them here in the second. Castillo, Tomas, and Owings. Giancarlo Stanton in the box. Robbie Ray on the mound. Bottom of the second, scoreless. Stanton takes in. Giancarlo has helped propel Miami to wins in 9 of their last 10 games. When his bat's going, everybody follows. And last night, if you followed this one, it landed 436 feet later. To straightaway center. Ray misses away. It's 2-1. During the streak, 6 homers. And remember, the Marlins won the game that Stanton did not play in the 10 games that Friday night in Milwaukee. Fastball's up, and Stanton walks. So Miami has a start here in the second. Marcell Ozuna and Chris Johnson will follow. Chip Hale, who remember last year when the Marlins had just let Mike Redmond go and Dan Jennings took over as manager. The first team in was the Diamondbacks. And Chip Hale and the Diamondbacks wiped out the Fish, swept them. They were aggressive. They stole a ton of bases. It was one of the low points, certainly, for the Marlins last year.
Well, the Diamondbacks are a good young athletic ball club. Every position that they have athletes. They run well. They're aggressive on the base paths. They still have a little learning to do, but this is a team that I would think in a year or two, teams are going to be afraid to play.
Pitch misses into Ozuna, and it's a ball and a strike. Marcell, 3 hits in the series, including a home run. And it was his home run that started the Marlins back in that comeback in game 1. They were down 4-1. Ozuna hit a 2-run shot. Miami would win that game. And he chases a breaking ball in the dirt.
It's a lot of fun to watch Ozuna gain confidence after the year he had last year, to see his body language, to see the way he's carrying himself now. He looks like a guy that believes he's a big league ball player and a guy that can be an impact big league ball player.
Ozuna center field. Owings going back, looking up, and he makes the catch, tagging is Stanton on his way to second, and Giancarlo is in. That ball almost looked like it got in on Ozuna, and he just hit it 405 feet.
Well, when guys let the ball get deep, you get those results because you have your full strength behind it. When you're out front, you end up losing that power, but when the ball gets deep and you still get the barrel on it like Ozuna did right there, you're still going to produce some power and get the ball deep in the outfield, and that ball was struck very well. It was like the double that JT Realmuto hit last night. That ball was middle in, but he got the barrel on and he hit it in the gap for a double, and there was no chance to catch it. Same thing right there with Ozuna.
Great heads up by Stanton. He's in scoring position now with one out, and Chris Johnson up. Johnson trying to get rolling and getting some starts against lefties. He was 0 for 3 in the opening game. And Ray misses down low. Marlins and Phillies tomorrow night. And the Marlins get a look at the latest and greatest Vince Velasquez tomorrow night. Wei-Yin Chen for the Fish, Velasquez for the Phils. Jeremy Hellickson and Aaron Nola also throwing for the Phils. Tom Kohler, Justin Nicolino for Miami. Stanton not going anywhere.
Chris Johnson is one of those guys that if he gets rolling, he can add a lot of depth to this Marlins lineup. He's a veteran guy. He's had some good years in the big leagues. He's been around a little bit. He's one of those guys that when he gets going, he shoots that right center gap very well, uses the whole field, and he could be a big piece.
Especially against left-handers, his career numbers coming in to 2016, a .314 average and a .436 slugging percentage. Missed that changeup, and it's 1-2.
Naples, Florida guy, so he's close to home. Don Mattingly would love to see him get going.
Two and two. See Ed Hickok, who had a supporting role in the telecast last night, behind the plate, calling balls and strikes. Johnson stays alive, and it's 2-2. Of course, the Fish have made up a lot of ground in the standings with the run they've made. It started in San Francisco on that Sunday. Don Mattingly going back to Los Angeles and sweeping a 4-game series against the Dodgers.
Johnson needs one of those ugly hits right now, like a blooper over second base or something like that. He needs one of those ugly hits to get himself going. He's been having some tough at-bats, but he's also been being pitched very, very well. The game with in LA against lefty Kershaw. Kershaw did not miss a spot against him all night. He needs to get a little bit of luck. You know, when you're struggling like this, sometimes it's those ugly hits that can get you going.
Stanton still waiting patiently at second. One out. And a 3-2. Got him. 89 miles an hour. Not sure if that was a sinker, a cut. Oh, that's a power changeup at 89 miles an hour.
That's a really hard changeup. Good deception. Chris Johnson didn't pick it up. Hey, Robbie Ray's got some talent. He's got a lot of arm strength. The one thing that the Diamondbacks get concerned with him is the pitch count sometimes runs up, and sometimes he has trouble finding the strike zone consistently, but there's no questioning the talent, the arm strength of Robbie Ray.
Now Derek Dietrich. Breaking ball is a strike. Dietrich getting the start against Ray. Tom Mattingly wants to get Dietrich starts against lefties. Select lefties, though. Patrick Corbin, his numbers against lefties really, really good. So Dietrich got game 1 off. Swings over the breaking ball. It's 0-2.
Well, and I think Dietrich matches up well against Robbie Ray because Robbie Ray's best pitch is his fastball, and Dietrich is a fastball hitter. So he's one of those lefties that's going to match up a little bit better with Dietrich. If you got a guy that's more of a change-up slider guy, those guys might give him more problems. But I think this is a good matchup for Dietrich.
Dietrich, center field. That's a base hit. Here comes Stanton. Up with the ball is Owens, and the Marlins are on the board. That wasn't a fastball he hit.
88 miles an hour, 89 miles an hour. Looked like either a slider or a changeup. Something that Dietrich did a good, that's a slider. Dietrich stayed on it. You see the grip there, see the slider spin. It didn't quite get down. Dietrich does a good job of staying on it. Gets himself a single into center field, picks up an RBI. Very nicely done.
You know, that last replay is a great illustration of what hitters use to delineate between a fastball and a slider, and that is the red dot that appears in the middle of the baseball with that slider spin. Here's Echeverria now. Now watch the middle of the baseball and see if you see the red dot appear. That rotation right there.
So that red dot right in the middle of the ball. Yeah, that's what we call a cement mixer. You know, when you can see the dot that well, you drive on the road and you see one of those big cement trucks, that red dial that's on the back, it looks just like that. When a hitter sees that, their eyes light up.
So when you see a cement truck now, your eyes light up and you're ready to swing.
Oh yeah, always. I've been pulled over a couple times, Rich.
Well, you know, a couple little things in this inning. Stanton taking second on Ozuna's 405-foot fly ball to center. That was nice to see. Stanton taking a walk to open the inning is what started it all. And then Dietrich hanging in against a slider against a lefty, and a lefty that's been really good against other lefties. 148 the batting average coming in for left-handed hitters against Robbie Ray. And that's Patrick Corbin-like.
Well, it's that type of baseball for the Marlins, though, that have them 9-1 over the last 10 games. They're playing great team baseball, and they're doing the little things. They're moving runners over in good situations. The base runners have been very aggressive and smart on the base, and the defense is playing well. It's been a team effort up and down the lineup, in the bullpen, starting rotation. Everybody is contributing in some way.
Snap throw, and Dietrich dives back in. There are the splits, all 4 Colorado homers by right-handed bats. As we told you, both these teams hit lefties well. Arizona's on that list. Arizona has hit more homers against lefties than all but one team. They're tied for first, and the Marlins, you saw that average. The Marlins have a 289 average against lefties. Colorado and Pittsburgh are higher. Edge takes a fastball inside part, and now Dietrich will be on his way to first. Counts full with 2 outs. And that will help if Echeverria is able to put a ball in the gap. He fouls it back.
The Marlins are hoping to get one in the gap with that base runner running, and the Diamondbacks are hoping to get this out right here so they can have the next inning with the pitcher leading off. That's always an advantage.
Dietrich running again. 3-2 coming. And we'll do it again. This one in the air to right. Peralta makes the catch, but Miami is on the board. Derek Dietrich with a 2-out single and a 1-0 Miami lead.
Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, and by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. It's what happens when you swallow at the exact wrong time, Preston.
Yes, I was watching you struggle through that.
Oh, man.
I didn't know if you were going to make it.
Oh, man, I almost needed the Heimlich right around Chrysler. Fastball from Adam Conley misses out. Nick Ahmed with Robbie Ray and Gene Segura in the third. And Adam Conley's been terrific in his first 2 innings. His fastball misses up to Ahmed. And the count 2-0. 4 strikeouts, a walk. Prado to the wall. And it's out of play. Diamondbacks going with the grays with the little snakeskin pattern on the sleeves and on the bottom of the pants. Here's a 2-1. Foul back.
They may have the most uniform combinations of anyone in the league.
Yeah, it reminds you of a couple clubs way back in history. The Pittsburgh Pirates, so the We Are family, and the Oakland Athletics of the 70s. Who had many, many combinations, both those teams. The Pirates had the all black, they had the gold.
Yes, pinstripes.
They had the pinstripes, they had the all whites. And you never knew what they were going to trot out. And one of the hard things in talking to some of the Diamondback players is making sure you got the right combination. Got to have the right cap on. Make sure you've got the right top and bottom. Conley's fastball is fouled out of play. All the different looks. Coors Light cold hard facts. 8 new uniforms. The gray that they're wearing, the primary gray, they are 3-1 with these grays. Liner to right, Stanton's over, and he reaches up and makes the catch.
He got a tremendous jump on that ball. Great job getting a jump on that ball by Stanton.
And we get a jump down below to Craig Minervini. Craig?
Thank you, Rich. It was a bad hop off the bat of John Jay in spring training in 2014 that fractured Derek Dietrich's nose. He's been battling back defensively ever since.
You know, I don't know what that getting knocked in the face, how much that really played, maybe, you know, unconsciously or subconsciously or whatever, however you want to say it. But, you know, I've moved way beyond that, and you know, I've been pretty happy with the way I've been playing defense, third base, second base. You know, I've really grown a lot as a defender.
Infield coach Perry Hill has worked very hard with Dietrich, who has looked quite smooth. Don Mattingly told me that he likes the way Dietrich's been playing defense, even at first base too. And now with the opportunity with D. Gordon out for a while, Dietrich able to get that bat in there. Last year they really worked his bat in the outfield, as you recall, guys. But because he can handle himself defensively now, the Marlins not afraid to use him in the infield positions.
All right, thank you, Craig. Down goes Robbie Ray. To both Craig and to Preston, if there's one spot on a diamond that scouts love to draft, it's shortstop. And that's what Dietrich was at Georgia Tech. He was a shortstop. And many feel that if you can play shortstop, you can play anywhere on the diamond or in the outfield.
Well, it's a demanding position. You have a lot of responsibility. You have a lot of range to cover at shortstop. So usually those are your most athletic guys. Almost every guy that's right-handed that plays in the big leagues at some point in high school played shortstop. You know, those are your most gifted athletes. And Dietrich has come a long way since that injury from that ground ball a few years ago. You know, I know sometimes when you're a player, you don't want to admit that something bothers you, but in my opinion, you could definitely tell that hampered his progress, taking that ball off the face, and it's good to see him.
Dietrich has this one.
Battle back and come back from adversity. He looks like a much better ball player now.
Adam Conley picking up where he left off in Milwaukee. 1-0 Miami. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Fleet Week here in South Florida. We had one sailor working our left field camera early today in batting practice, getting up close to pregame. Adam Conley, JT Realmuto, and Martin Prado. Conley smokes one. Whoa, Ahmed with a pick. He is dazzled, hasn't he, the whole series. That's as well as Conley's hit a ball. And Ahmed made it look easy.
Nick Ahmed is one slick fielding shortstop. Look, that play is not that easy. He picked that on the run and fires a bullet to Goldschmidt at first. The Diamondbacks have some athletes, and Nick Ahmed is at the top of that list.
That's a heck of a play. JT Realmuto now with Martin Prado. Realmuto bounced to third, shortens to bunt, takes a strike. Miami has just one hit, and that was Dietrich's. A two-out single on a two-strike pitch. And that drove home Giancarlo Stanton.
That's not how many you get, it's when you get them. That came at the right time, man in scoring position, 2 outs, 2 strikes, and he was able to find a way to get the job done.
Robbie Ray with a fastball strikes out JT Realmuto. Fireworks Friday is tomorrow. Marlins Phillies 7:10. Our first look at the Phils. Nurses Appreciation Night, always a popular night at the ballpark. Pick up the new Budweiser burger and beer package for just $25. Get a bullpen reserve ticket, specialty burger, and a 16-ounce beer, and enjoy free fireworks after the game. For more info, go to marlins.com today. Strike to Prado. Martin bounced out back in the first. Tell you what, Robbie Ray is not a soft tossing lefty.
He is bringing it, 96 miles an hour, and it's a live 96. The ball's moving, even when it's up in the zone, it's got good action.
Here's 1-2 to Prado. And Martin fights it off. Prado 1 for 9 in the series, but his name's still in that top 10 on the hitting charts. Prado checks in third at the start of the night. Drives it left center field, hits it pretty well. Owings on the run, and he gets there and makes the catch. Cuts it off in the gap. Robbie Ray is settling in, and we're glad you are as well. It's 1-0 Miami. top. It's the 4th. If you can't watch the games on television, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Marlins wherever you go. Roof wide open, Marlins and Diamondbacks. You like the Magic City shirt? He can watch the game and watch the game, right? He could stream it right on that phone on the Fox Sports Go app while he's at the ballpark. How cool is that now? Adam Conley going back to work. Conley looks just like he did in Milwaukee. He's got Brandon Drury, Paul Goldschmidt, and Wellington Castillo here in the 4th. And a letter high strike. It's 2-1. So far tonight, 5 strikeouts and a walk. His pitch count approaching 50. One of the hard things about throwing a no-hitter in this day and age is that pitch count, and it's foul balls that do you in. Conley was talking about all the foul balls that the Brewers had, pitches they fought off that just extend at bats and raise pitch counts.
Teams that find a way to make contact, to fight off pitches, to get just a little bit, that runs up your pitch count, and pitchers don't like that. They rather get the quick out or be able to strike you out, but when a batter is able to extend the bat by fouling off pitches, that runs that pitch count up, and they don't like it.
You almost, I mean, the comment, and Juan Nieves, as we talked about in Milwaukee, the only Brewer to ever throw a no-hitter. You almost need a lot of swings and misses or some early contact in counts that lead to outs. Two balls, 2 strikes. Drury at third base tonight for the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks head to Atlanta after the ball game. As we talked about, the Marlins and the Phillies tangle for the first time, and it's going to be interesting to see the Phils, who have certainly surprised a lot of people. Vince Velasquez tomorrow night. Chopper third, backhanded. Prado long throw, and a good one. Nice play. Drury is out number 1. South Florida Honda dealers get you ready for Wei-Yin Chen and Vince Velasquez. Phils and Fish. We'll chat with Don Mattingly. The weekend series begins with Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine out in their little spaceship in center field. I saw some of the sailors out there checking out the set. It's not hard to spot those guys with the white uniforms. Those men and women here around the ballpark.
They stand out a little bit.
As they should.
Yes, they should.
Conley, it's interesting watching the sequences here. He's fallen behind a lot of hitters. Gone 2-0 and then come back and been able to get outs. He was 2-0 to Drury. Change up, it's 2-2.
But even when he's missed, it hasn't been misses that are just so far away that the hitter doesn't have to honor it. His misses have been close, so he's been around the plate. Even though he's fallen behind some, he's been around the plate, and he's been able to get himself back into the count after just a couple pitches.
That one just dips low. Three-two coming. And Goldschmidt, one of those guys that's really good at chewing up pitch counts. Just gets enough on that to stay in the at-bat.
A rare power hitter that has a short swing. Usually guys that produce power have more of a long, winding kind of swing. He's got a really short stride and a short stroke.
Right center field, Stanton has a line on it. Giancarlo makes the catch, and again, Conley falls behind 2-0, comes back, makes good pitches, and gets it out. But a deep count out.
We talked about the pitching matchup of Chin and Velasquez coming up. Chin has been pitching very well for the Marlins. Velasquez, he's one of those guys that if he gets on a roll, I saw him pitch a complete game earlier this year. He was throwing 98 miles an hour in the 9th inning. So if you like pitching, tonight's a great night, and tomorrow night is going to be good as well.
Yeah, the Phillies, the East is certainly a beast right now. The Phillies are 4 over coming into play today. The Marlins 2 over. Top heavy with Washington and the Mets a game and a half behind the Nationals at the top of the division.
The National League East is playing some very good baseball right now. Phillies are playing well. Nationals and Mets are you know, pretty much what everybody thought they'd be.
So they're Dennis Green's favorite teams.
Yes. And the Marlins are making a push right now, like we mentioned earlier in the show, 9-1 in the last 10 games.
Phillies did get shut out by Jaime Garcia and the Cardinals 4-0 today, so they're 16-13. That one popped up almost up here. We don't often get baseballs up in this neck of the woods, but right down below us is where that one landed. It pays to be in a suite tonight. That will be water cooler talk tomorrow morning around the office. That smoked into left field, and Wellington Castillo has the first hit of the night for the Diamondbacks, and the first hit that Conley's given up in almost 2 weeks.
But I like how aggressive Conley's being. He's saying, here you go, hit it. If you hit it, fine, but I'm not going to walk you. I'm going to make you earn your way on. He's working quickly. The defense is staying in the game. And when you're playing behind a guy like that, you love it because there's no lulls. There's no down moments where you're just waiting for some action.
Breaking ball misses down low. And so Conley, 7 2/3. If you add up the 2/3 from his previous start and then 3 2/3 tonight, that's the second longest streak in team history. Armando Benitez, 2004. He had 14. And of course, that was done in little bits and pieces. Was never sure if it was Benitez or, as Jack McKeon would say, Beniquez.
Trader Jack, he had a few names for some people that weren't quite their actual birth name.
Juan Encarcerón.
That was definitely a favorite.
David Peralta with a 3-1 count. And Conley's lost him. Realmuto out to talk to the Marlins starter. So a single and a walk. And a dangerous hitter in Yasmani Tomas is coming up. Tomas has been one of the best in the National League against lefties. 4th in the National League with a 400 average and an OPS on base plus slugging of over 1,200.
This is the first adversity Conley's faced in this game. Yasmani Tomas is a different kind of righty, though. He's a guy that you actually want to elevate the ball a little bit. He's very good down in his zone. He's very good away. You're actually better off pitching him a little up in his zone and tying him up a little bit with your fastball.
Foul back.
That's right where he wants it. He wants it down and out over the plate.
Where Tomas wants it.
Yes, that's right where Tomas wants it. He wants the ball down and out over the plate. He's got great power to right center field. There's a lot of the Cuban guys that come over. they do. They really focus on staying in that right center gap, staying through the ball.
Buries a slider, 0-2.
It's a great pitch. Got it under his hands. Now you can do anything. You've thrown the fastball away, so you've got his eyes out there. You've thrown a slider in, so you've got him looking down in. Now you can expand up with the fastball or even go another slider in.
There's fastball. It's a foul tip, and it's held by Real Muto. Perfect prescription by Preston Wilson, and nice execution by Adam Conley. Conley shutting down the Diamondbacks through 4. It's 1-0 Miami. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, by Checkers Fast Foodies Know the Deal, and by your South Florida Chevy dealers. Quick tour in the Marlins team store here at Marlins Park. 1-0 Miami on top. Bottom 4. Rich Waltz, Preston Wilson, Craig Minervini, Christian Yelich against Robbie Ray, who's looked good tonight. He misses away with a fastball. He struck Yelich out looking, which doesn't happen all too often. Walked Stanton, and that was his biggest mistake of the night. Stanton would score on a 2-out hit by Derek Dietrich, and that's all the scoring in tonight's game. That breaking ball just missed. You saw Ray cock his head sideways, and with good reason. That's a strike. It's right on the inside part of the plate. 2-1. Now the count 2-2. Yelich up to 8 doubles. Go with 2 home runs. His second against Tyler Clippard 2 nights ago. Protecting with that fastball. Yelich success against lefties to start the year. On a night where Robbie Ray looks dialed in. Yelich 7 for 16 with a double. With an on-base percentage of .571, and that one fouled off of Wellington Castillo. There are your splits. It's early, but an illustration of Yelich's April, as we're a few days into May. 2-2 coming from Ray. Fox tracks. Pitch 7 was in. Yelich doing a good job of fighting off fastballs and moving the pitch count up of Ray, who's into his mid-50s now. Stanton watching.
Robbie Ray may be the first lefty that I've seen this year that Yelich hasn't looked as comfortable against. You know, he throws really hard. He's got like that slinky arm action. Ball gets on top of you. And Yelich is great against lefties. And he usually looks really comfortable. This guy seems to be getting on him a little bit.
A good take there. So this will be pitch number 11. And he got him. This time swinging. Quite a battle. But Ray has punched out Yelich a couple times. Toyota inside look. Giancarlo Stanton. Home runs per game against the Diamondbacks all time. .34. Only Alfonso Soriano better. And of course Stanton against the West is legendary, not only for when he goes there, but when he plays against teams here. 169 career games against National League West teams. .306 average. 58 home runs in 169 games. That's just over a full season. You know, a full season for a guy like Stanton would be what, 145 to 155. If you're going to get some days off. That one fouled into the seats.
Yeah, that was not a very good 0-2 pitch. That was a very hittable pitch that Robbie Ray threw right there. When you get a guy like Giancarlo Stanton in trouble, you do not want to make a mistake over the plate, and he made one. He just got lucky.
0-2. Stanton drives it to right, but it hangs up for Peralta, who makes the catch.
Back-to-back, not very good 0-2 pitches. Stanton happened to hit that into the defense, but you can't make a living for long making mistakes like that 0-2.
Now Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna 0 for 1. Each team has just one hit. That's how good these lefties have been. And Miami's run is a shot into left. There's a hit for Ozuna. Miami's run helped by that long fly ball out by Ozuna and the hustle by Stanton to get himself into scoring position for Dietrich with 2 outs.
Picks on a changeup right here, stays on it, drives it through that hole. Good balance. See that extension through the swing, stays with the swing. He's hit the ball with authority both times tonight.
Chris Johnson down swinging in the second. It's a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure where that one missed, and it shows that it didn't.
That's a pitch that you almost can't hit, right? 96 on the inner part at the letters.
It's especially a guy like Johnson, because he does have a loft in his swing, kind of like a lefty. He doesn't have that top to down swing, so that's a tough pitch for him to handle up in his zone and in close to him. Ozuna may be able to handle that ball a little better. Stanton maybe, but Johnson has more of a loft in his swing.
Extends the arms and drills it to right. Peralta goes back at the track. It's off the wall. Ozuna racing for third. Relay throw coming home, and he's in there.
just what Chris Johnson needed, just what the Marlins needed. He got himself a big knock, drove in a big run. 2 out RBIs are big in baseball. When you got the other team almost out of the inning, you were able to drive in a run. That does a lot of damage, and Chris Johnson really needed that. Great aggressive base running by Marcell Ozuna, taking off, scoring all the way from first.
Lenny Harris, the third base coach, was only about 20 feet away from home plate as Ozuna slid across. He was way down that line and made sure Ozuna knew he wanted him to score. So a 2-out rally, the hit by Ozuna, the double by Johnson. Here's Dietrich, who knocked home the first run back in the second.
I don't know why people want to call Chris Johnson Kelly Johnson. I don't know why that stuck, but I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get better on it. I'm going to get that Chris Johnson out, and it's going to be consistent. But that's a great job by him, staying on that ball, driving that ball the other way. 2 out. Both runs tonight, by the way, have been scored with 2 outs by the Marlins.
Well, I would bet Chris would play along, and if the result is going to be a 2-out RBI double, you can call him, you know, Bill Johnson or Tom Johnson or whatever you want.
Well, you know, I said he needed one of those ugly hits, and sometimes it's like that when you're struggling and you just can't get anything going. You need something to go your way. But that wasn't an ugly hit. He drilled that ball. That ball was middle of the way. He stayed down on it, drove it over the right fielder's head with authority on one hop the wall. That's a great stroke by Johnson.
It's great to see because, you know, for Chris, he's used to being somewhat of a regular player, and to get spot at bats and get started, that's not easy. And so you hope that this is just the start of things to come. Count 2-1 to Dietrich, who hit a slider into center for his RBI single. And Ray buries a breaking ball there. Well, that's what it takes. I mean, Don Mattingly wasn't kidding in Los Angeles the night D. Gordon was suspended. He told his team and he told the media this. He felt that the Marlins would be fine as long as everybody contributes, and that's what it's been in this 10-game run in which the Marlins have won 9. I mean, if you throw up a Miami lineup from last night or tonight, you can pick out a guy, any guy, and say, oh yeah, in those 10 games he did this. Realmuto, Prado red hot, Yelich big hits, Stanton home runs, Ozuna home runs and hits. Dietrich has played a role. Echeverria had the 4-hit night in Milwaukee. Good at bat here from Dietrich.
And that's what team baseball is. Team baseball is everybody contributes at some point. You don't have to rely on one person to get the job done. At some point, everybody pitches in and gets the job done. Chris Johnson tonight, 2-out RBI. Great job. All in these last 10-11 games, you've been seeing that up and down the Marlins lineup. At some point, you got 2 hits the other night from Miguel Rojas.
That one, diving stop. Drury on his feet. Safe is Dietrich, but a run-saving play by Brandon Drury. Well, they weren't kidding, the Fielding Bible folks, when they said last year that this infield was the best in baseball, and the defense overall the best in baseball.
That's not an easy play when a left-handed hitter hits that ball to your throwing side as a third baseman. It's tough to react to it because you don't expect it, but he got to it, laid out for it, got up and threw an absolute dot to first. The only problem is Dietrich runs very well and beat that out, but that's a great baseball play by Brandon Drury. I have been really impressed at the athleticism and the overall talent of this young man that's playing third base for the Diamondbacks tonight.
So Johnson's at third, Dietrich's out at second, and if the Marlins get into the Diamondback bullpen in, say, the 6th inning, they'll look at this inning as the reason why, because he had 2 quick outs. He struck out Yelich, Stanton lined out, and Ray had nobody on and 2 outs. And now his pitch count in this inning alone is 26. So look at that. Here's Echeverria with Conley on deck. Slow breaking ball for a strike. That's a strike.
That's a good looking pitch. That's a breaking ball that's just barely a strike, but it was nasty. It broke late. Good arm action.
That one fouled back, and it reminds me, that call, this is a really good umpiring crew. I mean, the 3 nights that we've seen behind the plate have been very good. Dana Demuth, Greg Gibson last night, Ed Hickok tonight. Mike Estabrook is at first base.
Yeah, the strike zone have been very consistent from these umpires.
Very accurate, which is what they strive for. That Fox Tracks isn't just something we use, they use it as well. Segura has it, fires on over to first. Miami adds a run and leads it, headed to the 5th, 2-0.
Leading by the score of 2-0. It is Fleet Week here, 26th annual Fleet Week in South Florida, and Chief Joe Millard is nice enough to join us with a bunch of his friends here that we pay homage to, over 300 sailors here. Chief, good to have you with us. How's it going so far for Fleet Week?
It's great. Everybody's been real hospitable in South Florida, and couldn't ask for a better welcome, better place to come to for Fleet Week.
6 ships are here, including the USS California, which you had a chance to have a guest by the name of Mr. Marlin, Jeff Conine. Being a Yankee fan, I was wondering if that was difficult for you to welcome Jeff to your submarine.
Oh no, it was a real pleasure to have Mr. Conine down, and he really enjoyed the experience and got to go out and submerge with this ship and kind of see the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, so the crew really enjoys that.
What's the neatest thing about that people learn about the submarine that wows them?
Probably the neatest thing is the meals that we get and everything like that, and probably that's on like the personal comfort side, but the torpedo tubes and how they shoot and everything. So a lot of people think they're shot out a different way than they actually are.
Not the bed space, and you're 6'4". I know Conine's still complaining about it.
Yeah, so you know, us taller guys, 6'4", we have a little rough time with height challenges with the overhead, but the bed space isn't that bad. You know, you kind of get used to it.
Amazing thing here, guys, is you see all these great sailors here. Great job, everybody. Say hello. Is that somehow at a ballpark with hot dogs and mustard and pizza, nobody's got a stain on their shirt somehow. How do you do that?
Oh, you eat very carefully, you know. You hang over a little bit, you know, keep the food on the table, don't lift it across your lap or something. So.
Who's the messiest sailor? Is there somebody here who's a messy?
No, there's no messy sailor.
Can't be a messy sailor. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Again, great job. We all appreciate it from Fox Sports Florida. Fleet Week. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Back, he can't be a messy sailor, Rich. Back to you.
I thought I saw something on your tie, though, Craig.
A sailor.
Good point. Very good point. Meanwhile, Adam Conley has been sailing through this ballgame. He did not give up a hit until the 4th inning. A solid, no doubt single by Wellington Castillo. And he's got an 8-pitch 5th inning. Bring on the Sailors. Major League Baseball and FS1 is back to monster games. Some of baseball's biggest stars, Rangers and Tigers, a game you can only see on FS1. And then the Nationals and the Cubs from Wrigley. What a showdown. 2 teams off to great starts. It all starts 12:30 Eastern on FS1, or you can watch it live as well on Fox Sports Go. In Miami tonight, the Marlins trying to sweep the Diamondbacks, trying to stay on this nice run. And so far, Adam Conley has given up just 1 hit. And it's Conley who leads off against Robbie Ray in the bottom of the 5th. JT Realmuto, Martin Prado right behind. And a strike. Conley hit a seed up the middle. It was speared on a short hop by Nick Ahmed, robbed them of a hit. That almost looked like a cross-up. Wellington Castillo. Umpires are concerned when that happens. Two and one. Ray and Conley dueling here tonight. Ray has struck out 4, walked 1. Conley has struck out 6. He's walked 1. And a swing and a miss. 3-gamer starts tomorrow night, and on Saturday, All-Star Saturdays, Jeff Conine bobblehead. Mr. Marlin, you could get your Jeff Conine bobblehead if you're one of the first 10,000 fans. All-you-can-eat seats are going on as well. Marlins, Phillies. Jeff Conine will make a special guest appearance, and so will his bobblehead. JT Real Muto with one out here in the bottom of the 5th. And Real Muto, Drury gets a piece. He is, he called him out. I don't know if
there was
him.
a tag there.
But Real Muto trots back to first. He must have gotten him. Real Muto's not arguing. Marlins are going to look at it. And the Marlins are going to challenge.
Yeah, I mean, Real Muto's coming back. Like, usually if you're the base runner, you know if you got tagged or not. He's coming back like he definitely know he got tagged, but I don't see any contact there whatsoever. So I'm not sure why Real Muto was so quick to go back to the dugout.
This may be a better look. Catch.
There's daylight there.
Yeah, the problem is there a clear look of him missing? Now the shirt is moving as he runs. See if the M moves with the glove going by.
There looks like some daylight there on that from the side view. I think the side view is the best. If you're looking from the second base looking towards first, that looked like the best view to give you.
Now, the important thing here is the original call, and there has to be clear and conclusive evidence that he did not tag him. And while there's plenty of daylight, that initial stab of the glove on all 3 replays doesn't look completely clear.
I'll have to agree with you. There is not a definitive look that you can tell for sure, but that look from the left field angle looking towards first base, there seems to be some daylight between the time he catches the ball and tries to apply the tag.
And maybe that there's another look. Watch the M on his sleeve. Did it move? Clear and conclusive.
I'd like to see the shot more from like the left field angle though, to see when he catches it and then when he tries to apply the tag. Let's see if there's some type of daylight in there.
Well, oftentimes you can play CSI umpire and watch 2 or 3 pieces of video and time it out that way and see if you can detect. Here's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's the view I was looking for right there. See, I don't see any, like from the time he tries to catch it, unless he catches it and the glove is on his shirt as he catches it, I don't see that he has him.
This is a tough one.
I got him safe on this one, Rich.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got him safe on that one for sure. Wow.
I'll bet you this will be a call stands and not a call confirmed. Huh.
Yeah, I had him safe. I'm right there with you, Mattingly. I got the same miffed look on my face as you do.
Yep, call stands is the word out of New York, which indicates there was not enough to overturn. That's why the original call means so much. Martin Prado takes outside. Now, back to where we were. Do you have a Jeff Conine bobblehead?
I do not have a Jeff Conine bobblehead. I need to get me one of those.
Well, I got a surprise for you. Preston, I'm going to present you with a Jeff Conine bobblehead.
Oh, wow. I like this. Check that out. That's good looking right there.
Now it's got the high tops going, too.
He does.
How about that? That one fouled back.
Those look like the shoes Niner wore, too, back in the day.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a good looking pair of shoes there. There.
He's missing a logo on his hat, though, right?
Yeah, but you know what? When you're Jeff Conine, it doesn't matter.
Oh, there you go. Look at the shoes.
Those are pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's got to be the shoes, Mars. That was around that time, too, wasn't it?
Wow, yes. Morris Blackman, Spike Lee, and Air Jordan, Michael Jordan. It's got to be the shoes. Air Jordan, Air Jordan, Air Jordan.
He's got the clean-cut look, just like he had on the submarine. into right center field. And the Marlins are done in the 5th. That's right, the fleet's in, and the Marlins are up. 2 runs against Robbie Ray. Adam Conley has not given up a run in the 6th inning. Conley still looking strong. Goes to work against the top of the order for Arizona. Gene Segura, Brandon Drury, and Paul Goldschmidt. And the same tempo which he started the game, working quickly. Conley 6 strikeouts, a walk. And his pitch count just crossed the 80 threshold. And Segura lifts that one out of play. 2 former Milwaukee Brewer middle infielders trying to revive their career, so to speak. Ricky Weeks, whose numbers need a little more reviving than Gene Segura. Segura's off to a great start. Yelich cuts it off, spins, turns, and holds Segura to a single. It's good work by Yelich in left.
A great job of cutting that ball off, keeping that to a single. That ball was directly in the gap. He got to it quickly, made the runner shut down. Just another example of the good defense that the Marlins play. This ball is right in the middle of the 2 outfielders. He gets to it quickly, gets rid of it quickly. Segura has to hold it first.
Throw to first. Segura is a base stealer. He's swiped 4 this year. He does have a bit of a hip issue. That's why he was held out games 1 and 2 of the series. Troy Tulowitzki is Brandon Drury's hero. He's actually been able to work out with him in the offseason. Counts 2-0. Rio Muto out to talk to Conley. Marlins bullpen starting to stir. 85 pitches in. The Marlins want to avoid the situation where Conley runs out of gas right away, and that's happened this year. See Morris and Breslow. That happened against the Nationals. Remember that game against the Nationals? Conley was cruising along when he got into the 7th inning. And after one was out, Jason Worth and Wilson Ramos hit back-to-back homers, and before the Marlins could get him out of the game, the Nationals had 4 runs. The bullpen would give up the grand slam to Bryce Harper and a solo shot to Ryan Zimmerman. It was a great look at downtown Miami, right through the open left field wall. That's hit a long ways, but foul into the upper reaches. How long till someone gets up there to get the ball? I mean, it's got to be an enterprising fan, preferably a youngster who can run a little bit, to get up the stairs and get up there and find that thing.
That's way up there.
Oh, comes back with a changeup after Drury beat him on the fastball and pulled it.
Oh, that's a beauty. Guy jumps out on you on a 2-0 fastball, pulls you up in the upper deck, and you just use his aggressiveness against him. Same arm action, same arm slot. You throw the changeup off that same line, get yourself a swing and miss. Very well done.
2-2. Change-up, roller, cut off. Prado gets it out there, and the turn not in time. Prado had to sort of get his shoulders square to make that throw, and it's difficult to do when you're lunging and moving, and he did it to get the lead runner.
But he did the right thing. He made sure he got one, took his time, made sure he got one. Knew it was going to be a tough turn. But you get the lead out, help out your defense, help out your pitcher. Showing good range.
Don Mattingly is on his way out, and he's going to ask for the baseball. And so Conley is coming out with 1 out here in the 6th. Kendall Toyota called to the pen. Comes a couple innings earlier than it did in Milwaukee. Paul Goldschmidt and Wellington Castillo coming up. Brian Morris arrives. Brandon Drury is the runner at first for Arizona. So the Marlins bullpen, which has been so good in this series, I mean, last night 4 scoreless to bring home a 4-3 win, 3 scoreless to finish a 7-4 win on Tuesday night. So 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 10 strikeouts for the bullpen in this series. And Morris starts with a slider. Meanwhile, if you're the Diamondbacks, you might, I mean, there's 2 ways to look at it. You've got a good right-hander in Morrison against Goldschmidt, but Conley at times was dominating in this ballgame. And Morris ties up Goldschmidt with a good fastball.
Good hard fastball in, 93 miles an hour. In on the hands. Great spot for that pitch.
Oh, 2. Morris gets that great heavy sink, 94. Tough to lift that. But Goldschmidt and Castillo can do it. Goldschmidt 6 homers, Castillo 7 already. Pulled, Prado, Dietrich. Got him! 5-4-3 on the double play. Just what Don Mattingly and Adam Conley needed. Brian Morris gets the double play and gets out. Suddenly decided to challenge the play at first base on the double play. Paul Goldschmidt running. Goldschmidt runs pretty well, especially for a slugger. Back of glove, foot. Foot is down. That's really close. And again, the original call is out. Back of glove. You see the glove move. Bang.
Wow, that's about as close as it gets right there.
Wow, that is close.
Man.
Is there enough to overturn?
We'll see. That's tough.
Now, of course, in New York, they've got the angles and the views from our telecast, from the Diamondbacks telecast, and there are some cameras in the ballpark that are solely feeding New York as well. All right, and that, you know, that's the other thing. Here we are watching it in slow motion. You get one shot full time. Mike Estabrook is the first base umpire. But I think one thing replay has illustrated is how hard that job is. I mean, it's really hard to say, how can an umpire miss a call when you watch replay and how tight the replays are. Sometimes, like the Real Muto play at first, we watched for 3 minutes and couldn't figure it out. He's out. So the double play works. Goldschmidt is out. Back of glove is when the ball is officially in the glove.
That may be one of those call stands.
Yes.
Because that's so close.
I would agree.
And it's not a definitive call to be able to overturn it. But, man, you can understand why Chip Hale would review that or want to get a second look at that.
So the Marlins win that challenge. And we go back to our regularly scheduled commercial. We'll be back. Marlins up 2-0. Presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Welcome back again. Marlins a 2-0 lead, bottom 6. The Fish trying to sweep Arizona. The Phillies are in next. Starts tomorrow night, a 3-game series, and on Mother's Day, it's a very special edition of a Sunday Fun Day. Moms are invited, the whole family invited. Marlins and Phillies are at 1:10. It's part of Breast Cancer Awareness Day at Marlins Park. The first 15,000 fans get a tote bag courtesy of MLB Network. Moms can run the bases after the game. Go to marlins.com for more info. The pink bats and wristbands will be out in force. Here's Christian Yelich against Robbie Ray. And Ray throws a strike. Yelich 0 for 2, and both are strikeouts. One looking, one swinging. Single runs in the second and the fourth.
Conley's out of the game now, but both of these lefties have worked with a very good tempo or pace when they've been pitching tonight. It's been a lot of fun. The defense has been kept on their toes, hasn't been slow. They've been getting the ball and throwing it.
Count 2-2 to Yelich. Conley ends up going 5 1/3, giving up just the 2 hits, a walk and 6 strikeouts, and no runs thanks to nice work by Brian Morris. It's not a pleasant thing for a catcher. Robbie Ray, on the other hand, 5 strikeouts, a walk, and the 2 runs on 4 hits. Castillo takes another shot.
Every now and then when Robbie Ray throws a fastball, you can hear him out there grunting. Lets it go and gives you a little ah.
Yelich up the middle. Segura cuts it off and gets the outs. Greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Corey Kluber looking more like his old self after a rugged start. Russell Martin was a walk-off hero. CC Sabathia turned back the clock. And And Alex Rodriguez has found himself on the DL. Giancarlo. Stanton takes up. Stanton walked and scored. That was in the second on a Derek Dietrich hit. And then lined to right in the fourth. And Ray being very careful with Stanton. And who could blame him?
Yeah, you could tell he was not really trying to just groove that 2-0 pitch right there.
Stanton drills it into left field for a hit. A 3-0 rip and a single. He's starting to swing at more 3-0 pitches this year. At least it feels that way.
Well, when you start swinging well and you're a middle of the lineup guy, when you get 3-0, that may be the only good pitch you're going to hit or going to get to hit, especially if your team is winning. The situation is going to dictate it, but they're not going to mess around with him in vulnerable counts. That 3-0 pitch was probably the best pitch he was going to get to hit that whole sequence. So you got to take your chances. And I like the fact that Mattingly is allowing him to swing 3-0 because he knows that in these close games, they're not going to mess around with Stanton too much, especially when he's swinging the bat like he is recently.
Preston, you know, we like to do a little stat casting, especially with Giancarlo. He's like the king of stat cast. The exit speed of that single to left field, 116 miles an hour.
It's unbelievable that he hits the ball that hard on the ground. You know, in essence, when you hit the ball on the ground, that means you're hitting the top half of the baseball, so you're not really hitting it squarely. And for it to still register at that type of velocity, man's got some incredible power.
And here is Marcell Ozuna. By the way, just to confirm, on the challenge by the Diamondbacks, the call at second was confirmed, and the call at first stands.
Okay.
So there wasn't enough to overturn, yet there wasn't enough to confirm. They could not definitively say, yep, he was out, and they could not definitively say, nope, he beat it. Ozuna's flied out, singled and scored. Cuts on a breaking ball. It's 1-1.
That's one of those where you go, you know what? I was a little over aggressive, swung at a pitch that I wouldn't normally swing at. I've been seeing the ball better now. It's time to rechannel, make sure I got my setup right, make sure I see what I'm hitting. You know, sometimes you get a little jumpy up there. You want to take a chance, try to jump on him, ambush him. Now he's got to settle back in.
They'll tap her up the line. Ozuna racing, and he's going to beat it easily. So a 30-foot single for Marcell Ozuna, and Miami first and second with one out. Here comes Chris Johnson. And here comes Chip Hale. He's not going to let Robbie Ray face Johnson.
Out of the box. Boy, he can run once he gets going, man.
He does not have long strides. He scoots.
It's not pretty.
He scoots.
It's more of a scamper.
He's a fast scooter and scamper. 2-0. singles. Stanton and Ozuna.
And they both add up to the same thing. They're both for base hits. One was 116 and 118, and one was 68.
But they're both singles in the box score you'll see on your iPad or laptop in the morning.
They count exactly the same.
Or newspaper. So Johnson gets the at-bat. And the Diamondbacks bring out a right-hander out of their bullpen. Randall Delgado. Delgado's numbers this year. And of course, these two guys involved in that same trade, the Braves and the Diamondbacks, Johnson and Delgado, along with Martin Prado and Nick Ahmed. So 4 big pieces in that trade find themselves facing each other here in Miami. Johnson would come over from Arizona and end up in Atlanta and actually have some nice seasons. Challenge for a batting title back in 2013. He hit .321. Stanton second, Ozuna first. Pulled foul. Lenny Harris wasn't expecting that one to be pulled. RBI double by Johnson in the 4th. That was against the lefty Robbie Ray. Two. Wow, a bullet. And Johnson really got the bat through on that one. A hard out. And here comes Dietrich now. And Chip Hale is not going to let Delgado face Dietrich. Randall Delgado, we hardly knew you. He does his job. He gets a bullet of an out. Another Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. Nothing Miami. Chip Hale goes to his 3rd pitcher of the inning. Zach Curtis, who got his first taste of the big leagues on Saturday against the Rockies. He got out of a tight spot with a double play. He was actually called up from Visalia, which is high A. So that's quite a jump for this guy, Zach Curtis.
I was thinking those exact words, Rich. When you come from a high A to the big leagues, that means someone really likes something about you for you to be able to get the call up from that far down in the minor leagues.
He's 23 and went to school at Middle Tennessee State. 6th round pick, 2014. Got the sailor cap, the Marlin helmet on top of that. Dietrich against Curtis. Remember, Dietrich against the lefty Robbie Ray was 2 for 2. Breaking ball, little tapper. Ray kicks it, picks it up, fires it, and out at first with some help from Goldschmidt. The Marlins lead 2 headed to the 7th. It's 2-0 Miami. Conley, good to see him back after undergoing Tommy John surgery. Conley tonight, 5 1/3. Brian Morris made some terrific pitches and got a double play ball from Paul Goldschmidt. So there you see Conley at 5 1/3. This will be a lot of fun tomorrow night. Phillies are here. First time Marlins and Phils go at it. Wei-Yin Chen and Vince Velasquez. See Velasquez with a great start. 4-1 in 5 starts. A slender ERA and 39 strikeouts. Chen has been very consistent. It's been a nice part of this resurgence by the Marlins. Nefi Ogando for the Marlins. And the Marlins need an inning out of him here with a bullpen that's been worked a lot of late. Ogando, who got to the big leagues with the Phillies last year, 4 games. Made his major league debut last September. Marlins got him off waivers from the Phillies. He was terrific in both AA and AAA last year for the Phillies, with an ERA both places of under 3. Wellington Castillo And a strike for Ogando. David Peralta and Yasmani Tomas scheduled for Arizona. Diamondbacks have lost 7 of 8. 5 in a row. Busted bats. Big hop for Prado. And across the diamond, there's out number 1. So 3 outs by the bullpen in support of Adam Conley. Breslow continues to throw. And here's Peralta, who, although he didn't hit Conley, saw him pretty well. He walked twice. That one's pulled. Johnson has it. Little flip. Ogando there. And that's exactly what you'd like. Quick outs, bad contact. And here comes Tomas. Marlins will probably, just in looking at workload in the last couple of days, Kyle Barraclough has pitched in both games and has had large pitch counts in each. So I would expect that the Marlins they might want to stay away from Barraclough tonight. AJ Ramos has appeared in both games, picking up saves number 8 and 9. Tomas did not see Conley well. He struck out twice against him. Hit hard to center. Ozuna cuts it off. And nicely done by Marcell Ozuna. And it holds Yasmani Tomas to a single.
That is the second ball tonight hit by the Diamondbacks that could have very well been a double. These Marlin outfielders have covered some ground, gotten to the ball quickly, and gotten rid of it quickly to get it back to the infield to hold the batter runner to a single. I really enjoy watching Marcell Ozuna play the outfield. As an outfielder, I appreciate the little things that he does in the outfield on a night-to-night basis.
Ogando out of the Dominican Republic, 6'2", 220. Came up originally in the Red Sox organization. Phillies traded to get him. Soft liner. Dietrich's got it. He started his jump and then gathered again, a couple steps back, and then jumped again and made the catch. Watch this.
He's like, yeah. Nope. Okay, now I got it.
Hey, whatever it takes. 2-0 Miami. Vini.
All right, Rich, thank you very much. Adam Conley, kind enough to join us here after another outstanding start. Arizona's got a very powerful offense. What'd you do to keep them in check tonight?
Yeah, I just tried to mix speeds. I tried to get ahead early. Obviously, I think where you saw the pitch count get up there in the middle of the game a little bit, I wasn't able to do that as well. So with guys where you know you can do they can do damage. It's got to just be a priority to get ahead of them so that you can kind of keep them in your counts and throw the pitches you want. And for the most part today, I was able to do that.
How'd you feel coming off the 116-point pitch effort against Milwaukee?
Yeah, I felt good. I think that there was maybe some physical fatigue there a little bit, but health-wise and everything felt perfect. I think the extra day really helped a lot. So moving forward, everything's been, ever since that day, has been normal. So I'm encouraged by that.
You ran that stretch to about 12 innings without a hit before they finally got one off you.
I know that sometimes they get a couple in an inning though, so I mean it'll even out. But yeah, it's really for me it just goes to mixing pitches, trying to keep guys off balance, and I'm trying to figure out what pitch it is they're looking for. And if I throw them that pitch, I want to throw where they can't hit it. And if I don't have to throw that pitch, I'm not going to throw that pitch. So that's kind of the whole process I'm going through of seeing these guys swing and reading the swing and all that.
All right, maybe a kale shake to celebrate. Thanks a lot, Adam, huh?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, back to you guys.
Thank you, Craig. Danny Echeverria, comebacker. Zach Curtis is still in there. And Cole Gillespie getting the at-bat. Pinch a penny pinch hitter. Gillespie pinch hit last night and hit a searing line drive that was misplayed in right for an error. So he's getting a look at Curtis. And as we describe Curtis, he started his career in rookie ball and then A ball and then high A this year, and now the big leagues without a stop in Double-A or Triple-A. There is a right-hander right now in Arizona's bullpen. Real Muto is on deck. A sharp breaking ball. 2-2. Enrique Burgos. Two. That's a pretty good breaking ball, whether it's single A or the big leagues.
You must really stand out. Curtis is only 5'9", so he doesn't have that imposing presence. But he must have really good stuff for the Diamondbacks organization to take this kid out of A-ball and bring him up to the big leagues. He must have shown them something that's definitely bigger than his 5'9" stature. He's got a good breaking ball, got a good live arm. Fastball seems to jump out of his hand. He's made an impression somewhere.
You know, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I will bet that it was in spring training that he probably opened some eyes. He had, look, in the 3 single-A seasons, his ERA was 2.17 and batting average against 193.
Whenever you bring a guy from that far down in the minor leagues, there's 2 things that they show. One is the ability to throw strikes, and 2 is composure, or some people call it presence. You have to have those 2 things to be able to make that jump from all the way down in high A ball to make it to the major leagues.
David Phelps ready to go in Miami's pen. Tell you what, Zach Curtis looks like he belongs. He retires all 4 that he's faced here. 2-0 Miami. There's the appropriate music.
A golden sombrero and a pepper.
Yes. You don't want anything to do with the golden sombrero if you're a hitter. Mexican-born Marlins. Alfredo Ameziga. Juan Acevedo. Jorge Cantu was born in the border town of McAllen, Texas. Raised in Mexico and in McAllen as well. Ishmael Valdez as well. Our own Emmanuel Munoz, who is the director of broadcasting as well.
I have to say, I have worn that golden sombrero.
I thought you were going to say I've worn that pepper costume before.
I've worn that golden sombrero a time or two. It's not a fun hat to wear, you know.
Well, the Marlins piecing it together with Brian Morris, who got 2 outs, Nefi Ogando, who got 3. You saw Miguel Rojas at second. Now David Phelps gets the baton, and he'll pitch the 8th.
Rich, if I recall correctly, we were trying to coin the 5 strikeouts, the platinum fedora.
You were.
Oh, I dragged you into
was
that.
I? Oh, okay. You don't get too many of those 5 strikeout games. Nick Ahmed, unless you get extra innings sometimes.
You know, Rich, I'm a little disappointed you just left me out there hanging, just blowing in the breeze on that one.
Did you?
You were.
Did you strike out 5 times in the game?
I don't think I have.
4?
I'd have 4. I know I have 4.
And that's the golden sombrero.
Yeah.
What's 3?
3 is the hat trick.
Gotcha. Ahmed is 0 for 2. Phelps, who had the night off last night, it works out well for Don Mattingly. He's got a fresh Phelps. And you would think Ramos is available, although, you know, one of the good news is the Marlins are on this run. They've won 9 of 10. The bad news for Ramos is that every game has been a game where you've needed a save. Phelps blowing hot gas, strikes out Nick Ahmed. How about some rocket arms brought to you by Quicken Loans? Well, strikeouts in relief. And Phelps 5th right now in the National League. We'll see though that Phillies bullpen starting tomorrow night. Now the Pepper's got a little personality.
Well, he's spicy. Spicing it up a little bit.
Jake Lamb will get the pinch hitting assignment. Remember, it's a 4-man bench for Arizona. You see that with the Diamondbacks. Sometimes you see it with the Rockies. Environments where you need your bullpen and you need relievers. Those teams oftentimes will go with a 4-man bench and an 8-man bullpen. Yelich back, track, makes the catch. Ball was hit pretty well. And so Phelps in just 6 pitches has 2 outs. And here is Gene Segura. And for the Diamondbacks, they are trying to avoid their 6th straight loss. Fastball from Phelps is outside. Segura is 1 for 3. Arizona has just 3 hits. Adam Conley gave up 2. Phelps with a breaking ball. And it is 1-1. David Phelps, very businesslike, very intense. Doesn't get too emotional out there.
I'm getting a little emotional right now, Rich, because our esteemed stat man
John Chimchuk.
John Chimchuk has just dug up the fact that I actually did strike out 5 times in one game.
Oh, wow. Here's the 2-1. And so what was the term you wanted to use? Platinum fedora?
Yes, I have worn the platinum fedora now. Yeah, it was on April 17th of 2006 versus Milwaukee. Thanks, John. Appreciate that.
As a Cardinal, right?
That was actually as a Houston Astro.
Well, there you go. Bouncer in the hole. Etch backhands, loads up, and catch, but no tag. And safe at first is Segura in what will probably be a base hit. Marlins will look at the tape, but at first blush, it did not look like a tag. What do you think? Hit or error?
I would call that a hit. That's a tough play in the hole. I would give that a hit.
And of course, the Marlins don't have a challenge. It doesn't look like a tag there. The umpires can go to replay if they want to, but the Marlins can't force them to. And it is a base hit, an infield hit for Segura, who is a speedy runner.
And that's a backhand for the shortstop deep in the hole. That's not very many shortstops that are going to make that play with any regularity.
Brandon Drury, but it does bring a guy to the plate who's got 5 home runs in a 2-0 game here in the 8th inning. Drury 0 for 3 tonight.
Phelps is throwing absolute fuel out there. 95, 96.
Talked to him today, and that's one of the things he said when now that he's condensed his workload into 1 inning, that yeah, the ball has a little more zip on it. High fastball, high pop-up. Rojas, Echevarria, and Etch makes the catch. Bullpen has been just fabulous in this series. 2-0 Miami. That last play at short, Echevarria and Rojas. Flashback. How about this? In Marlins history, remember this big day for Danny Echevarria in Philly? A grand slam off of Roy Halladay. 2 for 4 day, drove in 7. Tied a club record. Greg Colbert and Cody Ross had done that. That's our Geico look back at Marlins history. A look into this one. Double switch brings Jake Lamb into the game. Lamb is at third base. Enrique Burgos enters, third reliever. for Arizona. Prado leads it off, takes a fastball at the letters. Gene Segura now over in a familiar spot, and that's shortstop. And Drury goes from third to second. This is, you know, looking at Chip Hale's roster, he's got some really versatile pieces. Segura can play second or short. Drury can play all over the place, including the outfield. And Prado gives a little grunt as that one passes by early. Listen to that. It's a preemptive grunt. 1-1. And a strike. Good pitch outside corner.
Rich, you're right. They do have some pieces that can move around. Owings can play middle infield. We've seen Ricky Weeks play second base and left field in this series. We've seen Yasmani Tomas play left and right. They got a lot of guys that are very versatile.
1-2. And it's down low. You got Yelich and Stanton coming up in the 8th. Marlins trying to add some insurance before they hand the ball to A.J. Ramos, who's loosening up in the bullpen. There's A.J. Prado fouls it off. Chance to go to 15-12. The Phillies will come in here tomorrow night, 3 games over themselves at 16-13. They were shut out by Jaime Garcia. And the Cardinals this afternoon, 4-0.
Well, if indeed Ramos does come in for tonight, he's going to have to do it through the heart of the Diamondbacks artery. Goldschmidt, Castillo, and Peralta. That's 3, 4, 5. That is the meat of the order.
And he'll have to do it for the 3rd consecutive night. Prado sends a flare into right center. It falls for a hit. And of course, AJ's job will be a little less treacherous with another run or two.
It's got to be nice for Prado to get that knock. He had a rough night last night. Didn't quite have the swing he'd had over the past 6 or 7 games. Right there, he picks him up one, dumps it out into right center field, gets him a knock for the night. That's that salvage knock. No hits in your first 3 at-bats. Get that one in your last AB. Go home feeling good.
Now Yelich. An 0 for 3 for Yelich. And a strike from Burgos. Not a full schedule tonight in baseball. The Mets are out west. They're in San Diego tonight. Nationals and Cubs start that much anticipated series. And the Cubs have a 2-0 lead in the 6th over the Nationals at Wrigley. All the way to the screen. Prado's going to end up at second base.
Well, it'd be nice to get this tack-on run right here. You see this ball just get away from the catcher. Fastball just got yanked down and in, held on to it a little bit too long. Castillo could not corral it. Prado tiptoes into second base.
Prado says hi to Gene Segura. Takes his lead. Yelich trying to bunt. Puts it down foul. That would have accomplished 2 things. With Yelich's speed, he probably could leg that out for a hit. Lamb wasn't that far up on the grass. He was just approaching the grass. Now the count's 1-2.
Lamb backs off now, 2 strikes. Don't have to worry about Yelich bunting. I like the idea by Yelich, but he did one thing that really hampered his chance of success, and that the bat was not in front of the zone. Whenever you're going to try to get a sac bunt down, you have to get the bat in front of the plate, so that way you give yourself all that fair territory to play with. The bat was a little deep in the zone, and even though the bat was in a good position as far as height, it was not to the front of the zone, so he ended up bunting it foul.
Two and two. Yelich, right field, and deep, upper tank. Two-run shot. There's your insurance. And the Marlins lead it 4-0.
Does it again. Upper tank, showing some extreme power. Might start calling him the slender slugger. That'll take care of all your worries about trying to get a butt down and get a guy over. Put it in the upper tank. That'll take care of everything. This ball is absolutely hammered. Inner third, little bit up, and he gets extension through this ball, and he knew it right off the bat.
Whoa, that was a great shot, that slow motion shot from center field. Watch Yelich's eyes as he tracks this slider.
You ever hear guys say when a hitter's eyes light up? Look at his eyes. Oh, thank you, sir, Mr. Burgos.
And a beautiful pose to finish. Stanton now, one drive, left field with carry, but off the wall. Stanton around first on his way to second, and he cruises in with a double. Little more lift, and he would have knocked it out.
2 nights in a row, Stanton has hit a ball so squarely that it hasn't been able to get up to get out of the ballpark. That ball just stops right in the middle of the zone, and he absolutely tees off on it. Oh, great balance, good extension through the swing. He actually squared that ball up too much. If he misses it just a little underneath, that ball gets out of the ballpark.
Yeah, you know, they didn't see it, but they heard it.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that sound when it comes off of Stanton's bat, and they knew exactly where to look. Ozuna, center field shallow, and it's caught there. Drury retreats to get it. .420 feet for the Yelich homer. Those are the early returns. At 108 miles an hour off the bat.
Yelich is one of those guys that is surprised. He will surprise you with the amount of leverage and power he can put on the baseball, because he doesn't seem to be a very stoutly built guy, but he has great hands and can really get good bat speed through the ball, and that produces big time power.
Chris Johnson now with 1 out. Ichiro is on deck, and so Ichiro should get an at bat here. 4-0, Marlins on top. So far, every ingredient the Marlins have thrown out there has worked, whether it has been Adam Conley, whether it's been 3 different relievers. Chris Johnson, Derek Dietrich with big hits, and Yelich a 2-run homer.
It's going to be interesting to see if these 2 runs that the Marlins have added on, will that change Mattingly's mind about using Ramos tonight? or will he possibly go with somebody else to maybe see if he can get by without using Ramos?
Well, on one hand, and it looks like Breslow is up now too. On one hand, Ramos has heated up. If he does go in a different direction, any base runners or any issues, Ramos has to be ready to go anyway. So that's a real tricky call. 0-2 is out. Sometimes people equate a reliever's workload with the innings and the batters they face when they also have to add up the time that they heat up in a bullpen.
What really hurts a reliever is when he has to get up more than once in a game.
That's a good point.
A situation comes up where they think they may need him, they get him up, and then they don't end up using him, and then another inning or two.
Johnson into the bat. That's shallow center, and it's caught there by Owings. Follow Marlins Baseball live with MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment with Game Day Live, game video highlights, StatCast. We've been playing with that for the last few nights on our at Bat news and lots more. Download MLB.com at Bat, #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablets. There's your workload for A.J. Ramos. The nice thing about Tuesday and Wednesday, and in both saves, he threw just 19 pitches combined. Ichiro pinch hitting, and he will be walked intentionally. Fans don't like that. They want to see Ichiro get another hit closer to 3,000. He sits at 2,947. You know, the other night, remember Ichiro had that great at bat with runners in scoring position, the 2-run single. I asked him yesterday if his approach changes when he has runners in scoring position. And he looked at it and he smiled and he said, the only thing that changes is I get nervous. And I couldn't believe it. I said, you get nervous?
But you know, that's actually one of the things great ball players do is they admit their emotional state. They admit when they're nervous. They admit when a guy is tough on them. It doesn't mean they don't believe they can get the job done, but you have to be honest with yourself and say that, yeah, I recognize what's changing with me in this given situation. It doesn't mean I don't believe I can perform. It doesn't mean that, you know, I'm not going to get it done, but I recognize the changes that are happening, and all good ball players have that ability.
Well, at Jabria with Ichiro at first. Stanton is still out at second. And Echeverria pulls a ground ball to third. That's Lamb over there, and he steps on the bag. Miami is done, but not before Christian Yelich goes 430 feet to right center. 4-0. Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By the all-new 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, and by your South Florida Honda dealers. Roof open, Marlins up. Ninth inning arrives, and so does A.J. Ramos. What a workhorse he has been. This is his 13th appearance. 9 for 9 in save opportunities. Now the Diamondbacks have seen him each night. A save last night, his 9th. And then Tuesday night, this trio of Goldschmidt, Castillo, and Peralta have not seen him. So he didn't run into this trio or this part of the lineup in either of the two saves. Goldschmidt an 0 for 3 here. There's a strike. Now obviously it's not a save situation. He comes in with the Marlins up by 4, but it certainly has the feel of a save situation. Woo! 95. Where'd that come from?
Dialing it up. He said, I'll show you what I look like on a third day in a row of effort. 10 pitches a couple nights ago, 9 pitches last night, and he's still got 95 in the tank. Blew that by Goldschmidt.
Wow. All right, in 12 games, there's the selection. You talked about it on Marlins Live.
Can't sit on anything. He will throw any pitch, any count.
Castillo after the first pitch, and that's popped up. And Rojas has it, and just like that, Ramos has thrown 5 pitches, has 2 outs, and now David Peralta comes to the plate.
Not only is he sharp, he's efficient, he's making these batters swing early because of that unpredictability. They don't want to get late in the count where they don't have a feel for what's coming. They're swinging early because their strikes are there, and he looks really good.
97?
Light it up, AJ. Oh, my.
Wow. I remember the Friday night in Milwaukee when he had nothing left, but he came in and saved the game anyway. And I think I described it with the baling wire and duct tape and glue. He was throwing everything but fastballs. I think his fastball was either at 90 or below, but he's touched 97 on the gun tonight. Had a changeup, and it's laced into right field for a hit. So Peralta got an off-speed pitch, 2-out single, and here comes Yasmani Tomas.
Yeah, but the good thing is it's still a quick at bat. Even though he gave up a single, it's still a quick at bat. He's only got 8 pitches, and he's faced 3 batters already.
Six of the 8 have been strikes.
It's a good ratio, 3-to-1 strikes to balls. He just looks so confident right now with everything that he's throwing.
Taking second is Peralta, no stolen base. Tomas sitting on a 1-0 pitch. And Ramos came off the mound. His catcher came out. John Mattingly, Juan Nieves watching.
This is one of those cases where I like Realmuto coming out because he's just rushing. He's rushing a little bit. You get those 2 quick outs as a closer, and you get a little bit in a hurry, a little ahead of yourself to get this game over with. You still have to slow down, make sure you got your rhythm, and make good pitches because he feels good. You can see that from his arm. But you can't get ahead of yourself. You still have to stay within your pace.
There it is. He dialed it down to 92, and he gets a strike. It's 2-1.
And that's human nature. You know, you get those 2 quick outs. You want to get out of the inning quickly. You just have to channel it back because he does feel good and just get back on rhythm.
Check swing, fastball in at 93. And now this is where Ramos, as a closer, is so effective, and he's got 4 pitches he can choose from. He's got command of all 4.
I would like to see him go back with a fastball right here. I know he's got that slider that he likes for a strikeout pitch, but I'd like to see him go back with a fastball and tie him up again.
Slider struck him out. Ball game. Ramos finishes. Miami sweeps the Diamondbacks, and the fish keep rolling here tonight. Christian Yelich with a 2-run homer. Miami has won 10 of 11 and now shoot up to 15-12 and await the arrival of the Phillies tomorrow night. Ramos looks sharp. What a series for the bullpen. The Marlins had 3 2/3 innings tonight. In this series, 10 2/3 innings, 8 hits, no runs, a walk, and 13 strikeouts. How about that?
Incredible job. Great team win. Bullpen was incredible. Got some early 2-out hits and then a big homer by Yelich. The Marlins are playing a great brand of baseball right now.